Welcome to TruPowur, home of the most powerful marketing tools, training, and technology on planet Earth. Get ready to earn, enjoy, and experience more than you ever dreamed was possible. If you're tired of just getting by and ready to really thrive, then buckle in and listen up. Here's your host, Matt Fox.
Well, welcome everybody. We have some exciting stuff to cover today. And so let me go ahead and share my screen and let's go ahead and jump right into it. Today, we want to cover an overview of the general marketing phases with a customer and what that entails. And then next, as part of that, we're going to take what are the next steps with a customer after you've received their utility for a utility audit. And then, of course, as always, we'll follow up with a little Q&A discussion afterwards. So what is the marketing phases that we take the customer through? So the marketing phases with a customer. First is contacting the customer for an electric utility audit using the script and the templated email. Then we are going to submit the utility bill to the auditors. Once that's complete, we want to immediately enter that customer's information into the pricing platform in the back office, and then generate a proposal if they are in an area that warrants a proposal, and then email that to the customer immediately, following up with that customer and using the bridge over to the supplier side with the proposal, which we'll cover, and then going over all of the available cost centers with the customer, and then adding any additional services if available, such as natural gas, solar, power factor correction, LED lighting, whatever other ancillary services that we provide that may warrant value for the customer. So going back up to the top, contacting the customer for an electric utility audit is very simple. So we start by going into our CRM. And when you've logged into the CRM, by now, most of you should be fairly familiar with the operations of the CRM. But in short, if after I've made contact with this customer and I have received an email back from them by using the available script and the templated email, then what I want to do is go to my email, and that customer has provided me with a copy of their utility bill. I'm going to upload it to the auditor. So right here is step number 3. And once you get the utility bill, we want to take and then upload that to the auditors immediately. So putting in your name, your email address, and then the customer's information, who is the decision maker, their title, email, phone number, a little more about their company, and then, of course, any information that might be pertinent to the transaction. And then if this was the electric bill, click on electric, and you'll notice that right down here, it opened up another field. So right here, it says the total monthly spend of the account. So whatever their total spend is, if it's $12,000, then go ahead and put that in there. You'll notice it says, please include at least one recent energy invoice. The total minimum monthly spend should be no less than $10,000 per month per facility. So what do we do with those customers that have a $10,000 a month spend And what do we do with the customers that don't? The people that have at least a $10,000 monthly spend, we want to obviously get that into the auditor's hands as quickly as possible. If they don't have a $10,000 a month spend, then we want to go into phase number 2 immediately. You can skip this step. You don't need to send a bill to the auditors that is under $10,000. It's just going to sit there and nothing's going to happen because it just doesn't warrant enough monthly spend to do an audit for what the audit typically cost us as a company, not the customer. The customer doesn't pay for anything. We only get paid on contingency, so we want to make sure that that contingency is going to be warranted. So whether they have a $10,000 a month spend or less, either way, we want to take it to the next step. And what is that? Well, if you go back and look at submit the utility bill to the auditors if it meets the spend, and then immediately enter that customer's information into the pricing platform. And so either way, we want to immediately take and put that information into the back of the pricing platform to evaluate whether there are any additional savings for that customer moving forward. The audit looks at their utility going up to 4 years back, identifying those errors that are not only on the bill, but below the bill that are not visible to the customer. And so an audit is important to do. So we want to go ahead and enter that customer's information into the pricing platform. So you can see that over here, I have, this is a real live account. So we're going to go ahead and actually enter this into the system and show you how to work with it. So here is a copy of the utility bill, and I do have that available. So when we look at the bill, we can see what the spend is. We can see what their usage is. And so we want to go ahead and enter this into the pricing platform. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go into our back office. And one of the things that I like to do just before I put that customer's information in there is to go up here to the menu hamburger and select Market Data Analytics. That will pull up a page that looks like this. I'm going to take and put in the state that pertains to the contract or the customer, their utility, their usage, and then hit Get Statistics. This is going to show historicals going back 2 years and forecasting moving forward. So the one thing that I can see right away is here we are in February, and I can see that the rate currently is a lot higher than what it is going to be in March or April, or even better yet, in June. So June looks like an optimum time to start that contract. So that just kind of gives me a good idea as to where should I put this customer in starting. So let's go back to the dashboard in the back office and add this customer's information. And so I'm going to go ahead and enter in their zip code. So we've got the zip code, which is 19460. And we're going to want to put that to June. I know that their usage is 16,122. This is a very small customer. And it is with Pico. And go ahead and hit continue, it is just reminding you that you have selected Pico. We're going to confirm that. Is this a current customer? In other words, are they currently already in the TruPowur system? No, they are not. And so we're going to go ahead and enter in this customer's information. And hit next. Now, this is going to just verify some information. Obviously, when I copied and pasted it in there, I had a small s. So it's going to fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, use that. Now it's asking me for the account number. I've already taken that off of the bill, and usually I take all of the information and just put it on a note, because it's a lot easier if you take and pull the PDF up like that and then have a notepad to the side of it so you can see and you can transpose that information. Makes things a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the account number. It's verified it that it's good. And then we want to upload a copy of that bill. Well, I've already saved it to my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and add that into the system and then hit review. This is going to just take you to a page where you can look at everything, make sure that everything is correct before you move forward. Everything looks good. So let's go ahead and hit submit. So now this customer's information is now in my back office, so that I can go ahead and start working with this customer. Now, there's a couple of things as that's loading in that I do want to point out on this customer's bill. Now, you'll notice right over here, it says that the price to compare is 6.76. So in other words, they're saying that the price to compare is at 6.76 cents per kilowatt. However, when we're taking a customer's utility bill, we're talking about looking at an all-in scenario. So other than a small amount of the taxes, the way to calculate that is to take how much they spent, which is the total of the bill, divide it by their current usage that month, and that will tell you that it is 0.16795 or 16.95 cents is what their average rate is, even though they're saying that the price to compare is 6.7. So that's a little tricky, right? So we're not just comparing one part of the bill. We want to look at the entire bill. So the first thing that we want to do is to go up here and view today's rates. So that customer's information is already in the platform. And so once that pulls the customer's information into the pricing portion of the platform, it is going to allow us to make some adjustments here and put in that price to compare right here. We have their total annual usage. Let me just double check something here. All right. So you can see that earlier I put in their usage was a little bit different. The system has already started analyzing in the background what they're currently paying and using on a month-to-month basis. So that's good. So everything is already loaded into the system. And you can see that when you look at the contract info page, which is what we're on right now. And if you look down here, you can see where we added that location in. with their account number and information. And I put in there that I added up that they had 16,122 kWh annually. But when you look at the real account usage, it's actually tying in, looking at the utility and giving us an accurate number. And so we can see already that this business is overspending on a monthly basis. So that's very good for us. So we're going to go ahead and look at, based on the price to compare at 16.795. And then right now we can see that there are 63 total plans found and are available. If I want to look at all of them, then I can select all of them. That'll bump it up to 116 different plans. But I think for the most part, the price to compare, we've got a fixed all in on 60 months. That's a 5-year contract. Over a 5-year period, it would save that customer $6,200. So I'm very pleased with that. It is a very small customer. I've got my margin set at 5 mils. You can change that if you wish. I think 3 to 7 is very respectable, but the default on the platform is 5 mils. So I'll leave it there just for the moment. So I can see that, I obviously have upfront commissions, I have residual commissions, and so I can earn a lot more on residual than just the upfront amount. So what I'm going to want to do with this customer is to, now that it's in the system, is immediately send them a proposal. And the way to do that is to go over here to the right, click on generate a proposal, and we're going to want fixed all in. And we're going to compare this with 60 months. Let's just take a look at the 60 months and see what we have. All right. And so if we come down here, we see we've only got 160 month. Let's go back and go back. Let's take some of this off and look at a 48 month. That's much better. So we've got Hudson at 8.07. We've got SFE, which is a little bit shorter term, but we've got SFE, and then we have public. So I like to add at least 3. You can add more if you like, if they are going to assist you. So you could add in, you want them to all be different. You don't want to add in 3 different Hudsons. So you want to show comparison against other suppliers. So for this exercise, I'll just go ahead and add those. So I'm going to hit next, and the platform is already making those adjustments on their usage, how much they're using each and every month. And so we have made some changes within the platform. You used to only, you didn't have a choice as to whether you wanted to include a chart at the end or what portion of the chart. Remember, if the analytics portion of the chart. So if you want to add the chart, you can select whether you want 1 year to 5 years worth of information in there. I think 1 year is plenty. Do you want to include the market data graph, in other words, historicals? And do you want to include the future market data? So let's include both just for now, and come down and hit next and download. So this is going to download a proposal. And the first thing I'm going to want to do is rename that proposal to the name of the customer. so that when I send it to them, the name of the file is going to say Philly Fades. So it'll actually have the name of the customer. So when I email it to them, I don't want to email a file that the name of the file is called proposal. I want it to be the name of the company so that they're more likely to open it and take a look at it. So it is going to have their information on there and what we are going to be looking at. So you can see that we have the suppliers that we included as comparison, with Hudson having the best rate at 6.076. Annual savings is $1,232. And we can see all of those comparisons here on a fixed all-in rate. We can see that Hudson had the best rate with an annual savings of 51% and saving that customer $6,000. So that is fantastic. So we want to make sure and get this into the customer's hands. So, and then of course, down below, it is going to show our usage and break that down so that you can see their monthly spend and their monthly total spend. And that is going to break it down so they can see that comparison, as well as being able to look at the graph, and you can choose whether you want to include this graph or not when you're creating the proposal and some notes for that customer. So the first thing you're going to want to do is then jump back over into your CRM. I can go ahead and select that I want to send the supplier savings right here. So it tells you supplier savings proposal. Don't forget to rename and attach the proposal. So once that's done, it's automatically going to fill in the information that you need. All you need to do is include the attachment and then hit send. That is going to go to the customer. So soon as that happens, then we are going to want to talk to that customer and let them know the auditors are already underway. In fact, in the initial investigation, we also uncovered some additional savings in your utility. I emailed you some information. When you have a chance, take a look at that. Give me a call. We'll go over the details. This proposal does not have anything in here that tells you how. So that is typically going to be the customer's first question is, I see the savings, but what do I got to do to make it happen? So that process is going to be pretty easy for you because you've already loaded that information into the system. And so we know that we're going to take advantage of Hudson. So when the customer wants to move forward, my response is typically, well, the how is not so important as much as when do you want that savings to start? And most people will tell you that they want savings to start now. So since the customer's information is already in the platform, all you need to do is come back, click on sign up. I'm not going to do it because we haven't talked to the customer yet. And this is actually a real live deal. But all you need to do is click sign up. It is going to pull the contract for Hudson for that state and fill it out for you so there's no human error, and then send it to the customer for an electronic signature. Much like a DocuSign, they open it, type in their name, hit enter. It will automatically come back and attach itself right back to the account that it came from. And you'll get a notification. It'll end up over here and it'll show in the attachments. And you'll get an email letting you know that the contract is signed and sent back. You will also see in your back office, the status of it will change. So when you go in your back office, you will see the customer currently, once this gets done updating, it is going to show the customer pending. And so right now we can see Philly Fades is under request price. Once that gets signed, it'll change from request price to signed. And then once the supplier has signed off on it, it will go to confirmed. So the process is pretty straightforward and really not that complicated. But the big issue is I see a lot of people submit a lot of deals to the utility auditors, and then they don't take the next step. So the next step is immediately. Once you finish uploading that utility to the auditors, then the next thing you need to do is transpose that information into the pricing platform, create the proposal, rename the proposal to the company name, attach it to an email that goes out to the customer, right? So we're going to use the template right here, supplier savings proposal, and we're going to attach a copy of that proposal and then send that to the customer. So once the customer gets it and opens that email, you will get a pop-up over here that will tell you that the customer has opened it. You need to immediately follow up with that customer the minute they have it in their hands. Once you have uploaded it to the auditors and sent the proposal to the customer, you need to follow up with a phone call. And I call that just really a courtesy phone call in which you let them know that you have received a copy of their utility bill safe and sound, that the auditors are already underway. In fact, in the initial investigation, we also uncovered some additional savings. And that's how you bridge over into the supplier side. So the audit is finding errors and recovering that as a form of refund. The supplier side moving forward is going to help you find savings moving forward for that customer. So it really is not complicated, but I see a lot of people that enter deals or submit them to the auditors, and then that's where it stops rather than taking that next step immediately. You don't want to go over that process on the initial phone call. It is not necessary. You want to keep it very simple. When you're talking to the customer, talk to them about the utility audit. If you're having some trouble with the script, we have added some additional sales calls that you can listen to, some recordings right here under this button that says sales calls recording. We're always adding more. But if you want to learn how to do a utility audit script or pitch correctly, listen to those. Listen to all of them because they're very good. And once you have the utility audit, upload it to the auditors, then proceed into phase 2, which is to put that proposal together to send it to the customer. Now, I will say one thing. If the customer, if their usage is 100,000 kWh or more per year, then they qualify for the reverse auction, right? And if they are over 1 million, then they have to do a reverse auction. No choice, because the system will not allow you to look at matrix pricing above 1 million kWh. So that should be custom pricing. When you look at the customer's information, one of the things that you're going to want to do is, look at the market data analytics and, see, is this really going to be, when is this going to be best served for that customer? And the market overview is really just going to show you state by state where those deregulation and at what capacity that deregulation is available. So what we're looking at right now is commercial markets, custom pricing. So these are all of the states, green being natural gas, the blue being electric and natural gas. These are the states that you can or must do custom pricing. Now, some states are going to have matrix pricing. Some states are going to have only custom pricing. So what's the difference? If I want to look at matrix price, click on that center tab so you can see these are the states that matrix pricing is available. So we can see that Texas is available for electricity on matrix, not natural gas. But for custom pricing, then we have both electric and natural gas. So you want to kind of take a look at this, get yourself familiar with it. But if you are looking at your dashboard and you look at the market updates, each day the system automatically does the analytics on all territories on a daily basis and then creates this daily report, which allows you to really see what is the hot market right now. And this is obviously going to be based on matrix pricing. So this is commercial matrix rates that are lower than the utility rate. So Massachusetts right now is really hot. If you're not in Massachusetts, go to your quick launch menu and request some Massachusetts customers to be added into your CRM. On natural gas, California and Ohio are hot markets for the commercial. And then on the residential side for matrix electric, Massachusetts once again. And as we start seeing more and more custom pricing and auctions coming through the system, you will notice that anytime there is a winner of custom pricing or part of the auction, it is going to put that information down here to just kind of let you know how much that really saved the customer. So at the time, the best matrix rate was 89 cents. This is for natural gas. The bid was 41 cents. That saved them 48 cents in difference in mills. That's quite a chunk. So that means in natural gas on a deal like that, that means you could probably put that up to 15 mils and you really couldn't hurt this customer. And so you could make a really good amount of residual income as well as helping that customer, significantly. So be comfortable in understanding and where to find things in the back office. Looking at market updates occasionally, I would look at that on a daily basis. And then also looking at your market overview. You look at your market data analytics when you get a utility bill so that you can best analyze when should that contract start. A lot of times it's going to be if you're working in a market that's really hot, right now is when we want that contract to start. So that will shorten that time for you as well. So appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week. Bye now.